Hello friends, good morning and I welcome you all to this new class, and I hope you are aware about what the topic we are discussing about. We are studying about the physical divisions of India, and one by one we are seeing, and still we are discussing about the Peninsula Plateau. And we said the Peninsula Plateau, there are two parts. One is the Central Highland, another one is the Deccan Plateau. And yesterday we discussed in detail about the Central Highland as well as the Deccan Plateau. Today we shall see about Western Ghats and Eastern Ghats. Ghats means it's a mountain. So Western Ghats means the mountain that is in the western side of India, and Eastern Ghats means the mountain that are in the eastern side. So we have both in the western side and in the eastern side mountains are there. So that is called Western Ghats and Eastern Ghats. Now let us just compare them and see what is the difference, or how are they different from each other and so on. So the Western Ghats and Eastern Ghats mark the western and the eastern edges of the Deccan Plateau respectively. So between these Western Ghats and Eastern Ghats, what is there in the middle? The Deccan Plateau is there. So both the end of the Deccan Plateau, in the western side we have Western Mountain, and the eastern side we have the Eastern Ghats. So in middle there will be, and there is the Deccan Plateau. Then Western Ghats lie parallel to the western coast. So they are parallel to the western coast. So the western coast is there, and that is going in parallel to that. Then they are continuous and can be crossed through passes only. So the Western Ghats, they are continuous. That means no gap in between. There is no up down. It is continuous going. So it is high place. Therefore, if you want to cross, to climb over the mountain and go is very difficult because it is very high. Therefore, there are passes are there. Passes means small tunnels. They have made small tunnels, and through that we can cross to the other side. Otherwise, it is difficult. So when we travel by train and so, we can see train is going through this tunnel. So to cross the mountain and go to the other side. That is in the west, in the Western Ghats. Then there are, we can say, the Thal, Bor and Pal Ghats are there in this Western Ghats. They are the main Ghats. Western Ghats, it is said, it is so, it is more than one are there. So the famous of them are Thal Ghat, Bor Ghat and Pal Ghats. These are the three. Remember the names, you can underline and keep also. Then the Western Ghats are higher than the Eastern Ghats. So again, so we said Western Ghats are continuous, that is one characteristic. Another thing is the Western Ghats are higher, Eastern Ghats are shorter. So they are higher. That's why we said we cannot cross, and if you want to cross, we have to go through the tunnel passes. Then the average elevation is 900 to 1600 meters, as against 600 meters of the Eastern Ghats. So what is the height of these Western Ghats? Some places it is 900 meters, some places it is 1600 meters. So the highest part of the Western Ghats is 1600 meters, and the lowest is 900 meters. Then, but if you go to the eastern side, the height is 600 meters. So it is much low. You can see here the lowest is 900, there the highest is 600. So it is very low. Then the Eastern Ghats stretch from Mahanadi Valley to the Nilgiris to the south. So the Eastern Ghats stretch from Mahanadi Valley. So the Eastern Ghats are starting from here, and there is a river called Mahanadi River, and from there it is stretching towards the south. And there, the south, there is a place called Nilgiri, and it is up to there the Eastern Ghats are reaching. The Eastern Ghats are discontinuous and irregular and dissected by rivers draining into the Bay of Bengal. So another speciality we said, it is not continuous. We said the Western Ghats are continuous, there is no gap in between. But the Eastern Ghats, it is not continuous, a lot of gaps are there. Through that gap we can cross to the other side. And there are many rivers are there. All the rivers from the Eastern Ghats, it will flow into the which sea? In the Arabian Sea. And sorry, not Arabian Sea, to the Bay of Bengal. It will go into the Bay of Bengal. Then the Western Ghats cause orographic rain by facing the rain bearing moist winds to rise along the western slopes of the Ghats. So the Western Ghats, the mountains are high. Therefore what happens? It's like a small Himalaya. The wind that is coming from the ocean, the moisture bearing wind is blocked by these Western Ghats, and it blocks the wind and causes rain there. So on the western side of this Western Ghat, they get more rain, they get high rain because of the presence of this mountain which blocks the wind and makes the rain. So that is one advantage of this high mountains. They are causing rain to the Western Ghats area. The Western Ghats are known by different local names. So we call in general Western Ghats, but people who are living there in different places, as we saw in the case of Himalaya, they have different names. In Kashmir people call it by one name, Punjab people call by another name, Himachal people call Himalaya by another name, Assam people call by another name. The same way, the Western Ghats are also called by local people by their own dialect, their own name they call. And the height of the Western Ghats progressively increases from north to south. So as the mountain is, as we move from north to the south, the heights are increasing, not decreasing but increasing. So the northern part of this Western Ghat is low, and the southern part of this Western Ghat is high. So the height is increasing as we move from north to south. Then the highest peak includes Anamudi. So in the Western Ghats, the highest peak is Anamudi. What is the name? What is the height of the Anamudi? The Anamudi is 2695 meters. The height of this Anamudi is 2695. Then another one is Doda Beta. Doda Beta is also quite high, 2635 meters. Then another one is Mahendragiri, is the highest peak in the Eastern Ghats. If you go to the Eastern Ghats, there is the highest peak is called Mahendragiri, and the height is 1501 meters. So it is much lower than the peaks in the Western Ghats. Then Chevroi Hills and the Javadi Hills are located to the southeast of the Eastern Ghats. So in the Eastern Ghats, there are two other hills are there. One is called Chevroi Hills Chevroi Hills, another one is Javadi Hills. They are all located in the southeast part of the Eastern Ghats. The southeast part, that means the south part, the lowest part of the Eastern Ghats. Then locate the famous stations of Udagamandalam, popularly known as Uchi and the Kodaikanal. So one of the famous tourist centers in the Eastern Ghats. So locally it is known as Udagamandalam, but popularly it is known as Uti or Kodaikanal. So that is in this place. And one of the distinct features of the peninsular plateau is the black soil known as the Deccan Trap. So one of the important features that we will find in this Eastern Ghat is that there is plenty of black soil. So the Deccan Plateau is very famous for black soil, and I hope you believe you know the purpose of black soil. Is very good for cotton cultivation. Where there is black soil, the cotton grows very well. So we can imagine most of the cotton farmers will be located in that Deccan Plateau where this black soil is there. So how this black soil comes, we have already studied earlier that the volcano is bringing a lot of igneous rock. The hot lava comes out from the volcano, and afterwards it becomes very hard, and then that becomes rock. That is called igneous rock. And then slowly in the course of time, that igneous rock will get powdered, and that is black in color. So this rock that comes out from the under the earth from volcano, that is black in color, and when it gets powdered, the soil becomes black. That is how the black soil is formed there. Then actually these rocks have denuded over time and are responsible for the formation of the black soil. So these rocks, they get powdered and the black soil is formed. So that is how we find black soil there. Then the Aravalli Hills. The Aravalli Hills lie on the western and the northwestern margins of Peninsular Plateau. So the Peninsular Plateau in the which side? In the western side and the northwestern side, you will find, what will you find? You will find this. You will find the Aravalli Hills, the famous tourist destination, and it is a very famous hill, Aravalli Hills, and that you will find in the margins, that is in the side or in the corner of this peninsular plateau. Then these are highly eroded hills. So why these Aravalli Hills are famous? Because they are highly eroded hills. Because of this soil erosion, all this soil is washed away and are found as broken hills. So wherever the water is flowing, all that area, the soil is washed away, and so the hill is not continuous. It is broken in many places. So wherever the water flows, that place becomes low. So we can say the mountain is not continuous, but it is broken in many places. Then they extend from Gujarat to Delhi in a southwest northeast direction. So this Aravalli Hills, it is starting from Gujarat to Delhi. So it is going in this direction from Gujarat this side, and it is moving towards Delhi. Delhi is somewhere this side. So Aravalli Hills. So all this area is Deccan Peninsula or the Peninsular Plateau, and the Deccan Plateau and the high central highland, all that will occupy this area. So it is a large area occupying this. And now we will come to another part of the Earth's division or the India's division, and that are not so important or not so big, but whatever we have studied so far, that is the Himalayan mountains, the northern plains, and the Peninsular Plateau. These are three large areas, and a lot of questions can come from there. A lot of things are there for us to learn to understand. So try to understand, try to read several times, underline the special words and the names of the hills, the rivers, the areas. All that is very important, and we need to learn nicely, need to underline and learn nicely. So don't take it lightly, but do well and study well. So thank you for listening. We'll meet you again in the next day. Until then, bye. Thank you.